Look, I know what you're thinking. How can the person who seems to be standing between you and your twin flame possibly be helping your journey? It feels backward, right? Like someone telling you that stubbing your toe is actually good for you. But stay with me here, because what I'm about to share might completely shift how you see this painful part of your journey. When we talk about third-party karmics in the twin flame journey, we're talking about those people who show up in a relationship with either you or your twin. Maybe your twin is married to someone else. Maybe they're dating someone who seems totally wrong for them. Or maybe you found yourself in a relationship that felt safe, but somehow empty. These connections aren't accidents, and they're definitely not just obstacles thrown in your path to make you suffer. The universe doesn't work that way. Everything that happens in your twin flame journey has a purpose, even the stuff that makes you want to scream into a pillow at 3 in the morning. These third-party connections are actually part of a bigger picture, a sort of spiritual classroom where both you and your twin are learning lessons you absolutely need before you can come together in a healthy, lasting union. Think about it this way. If you and your twin came together right now, today, with all your unhealed wounds and unlearned lessons, what do you think would happen? You'd probably crash and burn pretty quickly. Twin flame connections are intense. They're like holding up a mirror to your soul, and if you're not ready for what you see in that mirror, things can get messy fast. So these third-party karmics, they're actually serving a purpose. They're helping both you and your twin work through old patterns, heal wounds you didn't even know you had, and become the versions of yourselves that can actually handle the intensity of twin flame union. Over the next few minutes, we're going to walk through exactly how this works, and by the end, you might find yourself feeling grateful for this part of your journey, as wild as that sounds right now. 1. These connections mirror your unhealed wounds. Here's something that might sting a little bit, but it's important. That person your twin is with, they're probably showing your twin exactly what they need to heal within themselves. And if you're in a karmic connection yourself, the same thing applies to you. Karmic relationships are like emotional metal detectors. They beep loudly whenever they pass over an unhealed wound, an unhealthy pattern, or a limiting belief. These relationships don't feel good because they're specifically designed to bring up all the stuff we've been avoiding dealing with. Let's say your twin is with someone who's controlling. On the surface, you might think they just made a bad choice. But dig deeper, and you might find that your twin has wounds around their own personal power. Maybe they grew up in a household where they weren't allowed to have boundaries. Maybe they learned to equate love with someone else making all the decisions. This karmic partner is essentially holding up a mirror and saying, hey, look at this pattern. You need to heal this before you can move forward. The same goes for you. If you've been in relationships where you felt unseen or unheard, that's information. That's your soul showing you where you need to develop a stronger sense of self-worth. These experiences teach you what you won't tolerate anymore, what you truly deserve, and who you need to become. Without these mirrors, you and your twin would bring all this unhealed baggage into your union. Imagine trying to build a house on a foundation full of cracks. It wouldn't matter how beautiful the house is, it's going to have problems. The karmic connections are helping you both fix those cracks before you try to build something together. When you're going through this, start paying attention to what triggers you about your twin's other relationship. What bothers you most? That's probably pointing to something you need to look at within yourself. Are you jealous because you feel unworthy? Are you angry because you feel powerless? These feelings are actually gifts in disguise, showing you exactly where your healing work needs to focus. 2, they teach you both about real versus false love. One of the biggest lessons karmic relationships teach is the difference between genuine love and something that just looks like love from the outside. This distinction is crucial for twin flame union because twin flame love is unlike anything else. It's not the fairy tale romance we see in movies. It's deeper, more challenging, and infinitely more real. Karmic relationships often feel comfortable in some ways. They might check certain boxes. Maybe the person is financially stable, or they're attractive, or your families get along great. On paper, everything looks right, but something's missing. There's no real soul connection, no growth, no sense of coming home to yourself when you're with them. Your twin needs to experience this emptiness firsthand to truly understand what they're looking for. They need to sit in a relationship that looks right but feels wrong, so they can recognize real soul connection when it shows up. It's like eating cardboard when you're hungry. Sure, it fills your stomach, but it doesn't actually nourish you. Eventually, you realize you need real food. The same applies to you. Maybe you've been in relationships where everything seemed fine on the surface, but you felt lonely even when you weren't alone. Maybe you've compromised yourself to keep the peace, or settled for less than you deserved because you were afraid of being alone. These experiences teach you what authentic love actually feels like by showing you what it's not. When you finally recognize the difference, it changes everything. You stop accepting crumbs. You stop trying to force connections that don't naturally flow. You start understanding that real love doesn't require you to shrink yourself or ignore your needs. This awareness is essential before union because twin flame love demands authenticity. There's no room for pretending or settling. Watch how your twins' karmic relationship unfolds. Notice what they complain about, what makes them unhappy, what they're learning to recognize as unacceptable. All of this is preparation. They're developing the wisdom to know what real love is, which means they're getting ready to recognize it in you. 3. Karmics help you develop patience and trust. Let's be honest. Waiting while your twin is with someone else is absolutely brutal. It tests every ounce of patience you have and then asks for more. But this waiting period isn't punishment. It's actually building something essential within you. Trust in divine timing. Most of us want what we want right now. We see our twin flame. We feel that incredible connection. And we think, okay, universe, let's do this. But the universe operates on a different timeline than our impatient human minds. Things need to unfold in the right order, with the right preparation, or they fall apart. The presence of a karmic third party forces you to surrender control. You can't make your twin leave their relationship. You can't speed up their healing process. You can't skip the lessons they need to learn. All you can do is focus on yourself and trust that everything is unfolding exactly as it should. This forced surrender is incredibly valuable. Twin flame union requires both people to trust the journey, even when it doesn't make logical sense. You're building that trust muscle right now. Every day that you choose faith over fear, every moment you decide to believe in your connection, even when circumstances suggest otherwise. Patience also teaches you to be present in your own life instead of constantly waiting for your future to begin. When you're stuck in waiting mode, you're not really living. You're putting your happiness on hold until your twin comes back. But true union requires two whole, happy people who are living full lives independently. The waiting period is actually your opportunity to build that full life for yourself. Start focusing on what you can control, which is yourself and your own growth. Develop new skills, pursue your passions, build meaningful friendships, create a life you love. When you do this, you stop obsessing over your twin's karmic relationship because you're genuinely happy in your own life. And that shift in energy is powerful. It signals to the universe that you're ready for union because you're no longer coming from a place of lack or neediness. 4. They clear old relationship karma. Here's where things get really interesting from a spiritual perspective. These karmic relationships aren't random. They're actually connections that both you and your twin need to complete from past experiences, maybe even past lives. We all carry relationship patterns with us. Some of these patterns are from our childhood, watching how our parents related to each other. Some come from past relationships where we developed unhealthy habits. And some spiritual traditions believe we carry patterns from previous lifetimes as well. Whatever you believe, the point is we all have old relationship baggage that needs clearing. Karmic partners show up specifically to help clear this baggage. They trigger all the old patterns so you can finally see them clearly and choose differently. Maybe your twin has a pattern of choosing partners who need rescuing. Their karmic relationship might be with someone who constantly creates drama, forcing your twin to eventually realize they can't save anyone who doesn't want to save themselves. Or maybe you have a pattern of losing yourself in relationships. Your karmic partner might be someone who takes and takes until you finally learn to set boundaries and maintain your own identity. These patterns need to be broken before twin flame union can happen successfully, because twin flame relationships will absolutely trigger every pattern you have. If you haven't cleared the old ones, union becomes chaotic. Think of it like cleaning out a closet before moving to a new house. You don't want to pack up and bring all the old junk you don't need anymore. The karmic relationship is your chance to sort through your relationship closet, identify what's not serving you, and leave it behind. Your twin is doing the same thing in their karmic connection. When both of you have cleared these old patterns, you come together much cleaner. You're not projecting old wounds onto each other. You're not repeating the same unhealthy dynamics you've experienced before. You're actually free to create something new and healthy together. 5. Third parties help you find your own completeness. This might be the most important point of all. Twin flame union can only happen between two people who are already complete within themselves. If you're looking to your twin to complete you, you're not ready for union. You're ready for codependency, and that's not what twin flame connection is about. When your twin is with someone else, you're forced to find wholeness within yourself. You can't rely on them for your happiness. You can't use their presence to avoid dealing with your own issues. You have to learn to stand on your own 2 feet emotionally and spiritually. This might mean learning to enjoy your own company. It might mean developing a spiritual practice that connects you to something bigger than yourself. It might mean pursuing dreams you've been putting off, building your self-esteem, or healing your relationship with yourself. Many people in twin flame connections realize they've been looking for their twin to fill a void inside them. But here's the truth. That void can only be filled by you. Your twin isn't your other half. You're already whole. Your twin is more like a mirror who reflects back your wholeness and helps you see parts of yourself you couldn't see alone. The karmic third party makes space for you to discover this. Instead of being wrapped up in a relationship with your twin, you have time and space to develop yourself. This isn't a consolation prize. This is the actual prize. Because when you discover your own completeness, everything changes. You stop needing your twin and start simply wanting to share your life with them. You stop obsessing over when union will happen because you're happy right now in this moment, exactly as things are. And that shift in energy is magnetic. It draws your twin to you in a completely different way because you're no longer coming from neediness or lack. Work on yourself during this time. Really invest in becoming the best version of yourself. Not for your twin, but for you. Fall in love with your own life. Build something you're proud of. When union happens, you'll be bringing a whole, complete person to the relationship, and so will your twin. 6. They create the necessary space for individual growth. Sometimes, the kindest thing the universe can do is keep two people apart while they grow. I know that sounds harsh, but it's true. Twin flame energy is so intense that if you come together before you're both ready, you can actually slow down each other's growth rather than supporting it. When your twin is in a karmic relationship, there's physical and emotional distance between you. This distance creates space for both of you to grow individually without the distraction of the intense twin flame connection. You're not constantly triggered by each other. You're not in the push and pull dynamic that twin flames often experience. You each have room to breathe and evolve at your own pace. Think about how much you've grown since meeting your twin. Now imagine if you'd been in a relationship with them this whole time. Would you have done the same inner work? Would you have faced the same shadows? Probably not. You might have been so focused on the relationship that you avoided looking at yourself. The karmic third party essentially protects your individual growth. They keep your twin occupied while you do your work, and they keep you single or in your own learning relationship while your twin does theirs. It's not cruel. It's actually carefully orchestrated to give you both what you need. During this time, focus on becoming the person you want to be regardless of your twin. What are your goals? What brings you joy? What fears do you need to face? What dreams have you been ignoring? This is your time to pursue all of that without the complexity of managing a twin flame relationship at the same time. Your twin is doing the same thing in their own way. They're learning lessons, developing strengths, and becoming more of who they truly are. When you eventually come together, you'll both be bringing stronger, more developed versions of yourselves to the union, and that's when the real magic happens. 7. The karmic relationship eventually reveals your twin's readiness. Here's something that might give you hope. The karmic relationship won't last forever. It's not meant to. These relationships have a purpose and a timeline, and when the lessons are learned, they naturally come to an end. One of the ways you'll know your twin is getting closer to readiness for union is by watching how they handle their karmic relationship. Are they starting to recognize the patterns? Are they setting boundaries they never set before? Are they talking about feeling unfulfilled or wanting something different? These are all signs that they're waking up to what they truly need. The ending of a karmic relationship is rarely sudden. It's usually a gradual process of awakening. Your twin starts to see clearly what's not working. They begin to honor their own truth more. They stop compromising themselves to keep the peace. They might start talking about feeling disconnected or realizing they want something deeper. All of this is progress. All of this is them moving toward readiness for you. The karmic partner has done their job of teaching certain lessons, and your twin has learned them. Now it's time for the next chapter. For you, this means staying in your own lane and trusting the process. Don't obsess over signs that your twin's karmic relationship is ending. Don't reach out to interfere or try to speed things up. Just keep focusing on your own growth and trust that when your twin is ready, when you're both ready, the universe will bring you together. The beautiful thing is that by the time the karmic relationship ends, both you and your twin will have grown so much that your union will be completely different than it would have been if you'd gotten together earlier. You'll appreciate each other more. You'll understand what you have. You'll be equipped to handle the challenges that come with such an intense connection. And that's the whole point. The third-party karmic isn't blocking your union. They're actually making it possible by helping you both become ready for something so profound and transformative that it requires this level of preparation. Trust the journey, even when it hurts, especially when it hurts, because that pain is usually growth trying to happen. And on the other side of it is a version of you and a version of your twin that can actually create lasting union together.